What's up YouTube, Capital G here, looking at this new card from Shining Victories called Fusion Tag. It is a card that promotes fusion summoning, which makes sense right now. If you look at the anime series that is ongoing, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, there are many important characters from the fusion dimension, such as Serena or Sora, but I mean, even outside that, you've got like Yuzu and her Melodious, and you know, Sora had the Fluffles, which I think they've gotten most of their support by now, but we're finally starting to get some of Serena's cards with the Moonlight Cat Dancers. I talked about some of those yesterday. Now, this card is a normal spell. It says target one monster you control, reveal one fusion monster from your extra deck to your opponent during this turn. If you use the target monster as fusion material, you can use it as a fusion material with the same name as the revealed card. In layman's terms, if you happen to fusion summon a fusion monster that requires another fusion monster to summon, this is supposed to make it a lot easier because you can basically you can use any monster on the field and you can change its name to becoming something else. Here are some examples and that you might be able to use. Actually, it makes Frightful Chimera actually summonable because, I mean, I guess you could summon this with Fight for Fusion. I've played Fluffles about a dozen times. It's never come up that I've actually had 3 Frightfurs in the graveyard. Like, I know Sora in his like first duel, well, in his first duel versus Shun, like it came up that he summoned this, but like in my testing, it has never happened once where I've got 3 Frightfurs, so it helps with that. It helps with Sabretooth because you might not have a Frightfur in the graveyard, but you might actually want to summon Sabretooth. It can help with that. It actually is, oddly enough, I mean, possible, feasible in DDDs because some DDDs require DDDs, or excuse me, the DDDs, the DDD fusions, some of them require DDD fusions to summon. These are 2. One of them is going to be released in the DDD structure deck, and this one is already in the TCG. They aren't all like Joan of Arc where she just requires like any 2 regular DDDs, so it can make summoning these 2 a lot easier. And it also helps with summoning Dragon Master Knight if that's your cup of tea. If you want to go through all the trouble of summoning this motherfucker, it is 5,000 attack, so you know. But like getting a Blackluster Soldier, I mean, that's not too hard to do, but getting that Blue Eyes Ultimate is a fucking bitch to do, and that probably never happens. So, I mean, you can essentially summon any random monster in your deck and turn it into a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or at least it gets treated as Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon for a fusion summon. To be completely honest, and to boil this down, I really think that this all has to do with this card right here. I think that I talked about Leo yesterday and how amazing this card is, and how it's pretty much worth building an entire deck around. Like this card is a showstopper, 3,500 attack. It can attack twice. It blows up special summon monsters. It's a fucking behemoth. It can't be destroyed or targeted by any of your opponent's card effects. It's really, really damn hard. What I didn't realize is this card right here, the Moonlight Panther Dancer, it is actually another fusion monster. So this is a fusion monster that requires another fusion plus 2 more Moonlight monsters. So it's a hell of an investment. This card, Fusion Tag, makes it a lot easier to summon. Here's my problem with Fusion Tag. After all of that, and I've talked about some of the things you can go into, the problem with Fusion Tag is it's a non-searchable neg1 that doesn't actually do the fusion. You still have to have the polymerization, or you still have to have your other like methods of fusion summoning, and that's something like I just don't understand why in 2016 we still, I mean, we've seen the evolution of polymerizations. Actually, we've seen a lot with Odd Eyes Fusion and Red Eyes Fusion and Shadow Fusion, and to a much lesser extent, Gem Knight Fusion. Like, we've seen so many different evolutions of the fusion summon, and I mean, I guess you could even throw in the Contact Fusion in there. I just don't understand why they just haven't made a just better version of polymerize it. Like, hey, give every fusion deck that ability, because let's say that you wanted to summon Leo. If you wanted to summon Leo, right? Okay, so you have to use 3 monsters to summon it. And if you use Fusion Tag, that's 4 cards. And if you use polymerization, like, that's 5 cards. So essentially you're summoning this with 5 cards. That's your entire opening hand for one monster, you had better make sure that that one monster wins you the game. Granted, this thing can attack for 7,000 damage. It could very well win you the game, but the problem is, like, I just don't think that it's generally going to be worth it. You know what I mean? If this card actually committed, if this card did the fusion summon, it would be, oh my god, like this would be so much better, and you'd never ever probably have to run polymerization again. What this card should have done was this card should have actually done the fusion summon, and this card should be counted, like it should be treated as polymerization. And that would have been like the evolution of polymerization for every deck. You know, for decks like the Melodious that kind of struggle, you know, kind of have to use a lot of resources to get the like Bloom Diva and Bloom Priva and whatnot. For maybe decks like the Moonlight Cat Dancers, which, I mean, we don't even know all the cards. If they get their own fusion spell, then I guess it's really not going to matter that much. But this still just seems like it's a neg 1, and it's still just, there's no way to search it unless, you know, maybe, I think maybe off like Synchro Fusionist you can search it, but that's pretty much like the only way I can think of off the top of my head. I think that card searches any fusion, any card with like the word fusion in it, which a lot of people, I think you can search like Instant Fusion and Brilliant Fusion if I'm not mistaken. I could totally be wrong about that, but this card was like, Konami had their heart in the right place, but to me it's just not practical enough. Like in a game where advantage still means a lot, this should have actually committed it should have done the fusion summon itself, and like this card would have been so much easier to summon, and you wouldn't have had to use like 5 cards. It would have only been, you know, like 4 cards, which is maybe not that difficult. If you have a whole bunch of monsters in your hand that are kind of dead, it would have been a lot easier than 5 cards having to use fusion tag and still use the ritual, use the fusion spell. So I don't know, maybe some of you guys disagree with me. Let me know what you think. Leave that in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching as always.